Probably there are endless varieties of how we can frustrate the grace of God in our lives, how we can reject, make it of null effect in our lives. And I think we can be really creative about that. James 3:2, sadly. But we are, these past few mornings, we have been looking at this ugly bouquet of things, the ways that we can frustrate the grace of God in our lives, and what to avoid, basically. And I think it's the last category. I believe it's the last category that we're talking about now, which is negative speech and what it means deeper in our hearts. But I would like to make a very important distinction. If well, I hope you're awake enough for such a fine-tuned theme as this one. Because I have been talking about negative speech here, and I think I mentioned criticism, complaining, and gossip, yeah. And criticism is often misunderstood among Christians because many believers do not consider it seriously enough or in detail enough. So an important point here is that there is criticism, which is negative speech, and then there is critical thinking, or having the attitude of a critical thinking, and that's not criticism. That's not the same, and this is an important difference. And sometimes believers mix the two up, and therefore they dare not ask serious questions or interrogate issues to their sufficient depth. And this is an issue, can be an issue with all of us. Not just that we're lazy to do it, but we believe the negative speech is wrong, and therefore we don't ask the questions that come out of critical thinking. So it's important. Criticism cannot be used to build up the work of God at all. Critical thinking can be. Critical thinking can be used in a wrong way too. It can turn into support for negativity, but it can be done in the right way. And this morning I just want to give like one distinction, one illustration for that distinction, and this is in John 3, in a very well-known story in the first 9 verses. Nicodemus, he just demonstrates this intellectual honesty that I would call critical thinking. Okay, so he comes to Jesus. I'm not going to read it because we don't have that much time in the morning here. He comes to Jesus, and then he did not begin with a challenge. He started with an evidence-based conclusion. Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one can do the signs that you are doing if God were not with him. Basically, he observed the evidence, he saw Jesus's miracles, and he drew a conclusion, a preliminary one, but a conclusion nonetheless. But he did not stop here. So Jesus speaks to him, tells him about being born again, and then Nicodemus, and this is where the critical thinking comes in, he asks clarifying questions about Jesus' teaching about being born again. He questions what seems illogical, okay? How can someone be born when they are old, okay? So this is a very important question. It needs to be asked, okay? But it's an important point that he is not challenging Jesus, but an insecure person could see that question, could interpret that question as a challenge. But Jesus is not insecure. He doesn't have a problem with Nicodemus asking this, and he doesn't have a problem answering. Nicodemus is asking an honest, challenging question. Well, honest, challenging questions, actually. He's interested in the answers. He seeks to understand the deeper implications. This is a very important point. He is using his mind, he's using his brain, and he's asking very important questions, significant ones, that need answering. If this thing is true, then surely these issues, these questions have answers to them, okay? And that's critical thinking. He is honest, and I believe this is an important point. Using inquiry, we want to move from what we understand to deeper understanding. and we just don't dismiss easily what we cannot easily understand. That's not Christianity. Like, if I don't understand, probably the Lord doesn't want me to. Well, the Lord didn't want me to throw away my mind. Sure, he wants me to live and walk life and live in faith, but he does want me to use my mental capacities. And so therefore, it's very important that we make a distinction between critical thinking and criticism. And of course, when we're talking about negative speech, I'm talking about criticism, not the other one. So just that distinction for this morning, and that might be a good start for a good meditation. God bless your day.